We have a special guest here in the studio from Salvador, Bahia, Brazil. His name is Rafael Ponde. Hello, Rafael.
Hello, Phil.
How did you come to find yourself in Port Townsend? That's a long ways from home.
Yeah, a long way. I just have a good friend here, Jesse Watson, and I came here 13 years ago the first time, and we met, and it was great. And then now I have a tour in Florida, and then I called Jesse to see the possibility to have me here for some concerts and to meet him again. And so nice. I'm so happy to be here.
And though the place you will play in Port Townsend, I forget where it is actually.
Poorhouse.
The Poorhouse, which is one of my favorite places. Actually, how could I forget that? It's a much smaller venue than you usually play to in Brazil.
Yeah, I have different kind of concerts in Brazil. Also this kind of concerts too, but big ones too. So for me, it's no problem. The size of the place.
And it will be tomorrow night at 4 o'clock, I believe, right?
Yeah, tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Yeah,
at the Poorhouse, right on the waterfront, and the weather will be better tomorrow.
Oh, that's good.
Well, I'm not necessarily predicting. I think I'm somewhere between predicting and hoping. So, by the way, this is Tossed Salad on KPTZ. I am Phil Andrus, and with me is Rafael Ponde from Bahia, Brazil. Why don't you sing us a couple of songs, and then we'll talk about where you come from.
Okay.
And we'll talk about your music, and we'll talk about whatever else comes to mind, I guess.
Okay. I'll play a song called Odé Caçador. Bolofinho Duduá, rei de fé, celebrava sua festa no início da colheita. Uma grande multidão se reunia no Palácio Real pra louvar com seus tambores Olofim e seus amores. Bolofinho Duduá, rei de fé, celebrava sua festa no início da colheita. Uma grande multidão se reunia no Palácio Real pra louvar com seus tambores Olofim e seus amores. Bebiam vinho de palma, comiam muito inhame, quando um pássaro maldito se aproximou. Odé caçador, flecheiro de Aruanda, veio nos salvar da ave maldita. Odé caçador, flecheiro de Aruanda, veio nos salvar. Odé caçador, flecheiro de Aruanda, veio nos salvar da ave maldita. Odé caçador, flecheiro de Aruanda, veio nos salvar.
What was that last chord?
Last one's a B minor add 9.
Oh, that's quite a sweet chord.
Thanks.
What was that song about?
The song is called Odé Caçador, and it's a celebration of one of our gods in Bahia, which is Oxóssi, the god from nature. We in Bahia have a lot of African influence, African roots. I think maybe 80% of our population is from Afro descendants, and so that's it. This is a song for Oxóssi, in fact.
Can you translate just a few of the lyrics?
Yeah. Odé Caçador, which is his name, were a god in Africa, and he was crowned after shooting a big bird, which was in a party, a kingdom party, from the end of the colheita, you know, and Oxóssi shoots the bird and becomes a king in Africa, and a lot of people in Bahia, in my city, still keep this roots, this tradition. And I'm saying in the refrain of the song, I'm just mention the fact that he shoot the bird, and Odé Caçador, flecheiro de Aruanda, which is flecheiro is the guy who...
The bow and the arrow?
Yeah, flecheiro de Aruanda, which is the place in Africa, and veio nos salvar da ave maldita, he came to save us from the bad bird, you know.
So the bird was a dangerous bird.
Yeah, sure.
I see. Okay, that part I didn't understand at first.
Yeah, the bird came to end the party, the kingdom party, which was all of the people of the village was there celebrating the I don't know how to say in English, the end of the fruits growing, and then you pick up
the harvest time.
Yeah, mm-hmm. That's it. Sure.
And did they eat the bird?
No, I don't think so.
No,
he just killed. Many of archers came to try to kill the bird, but only one could attain it. So he was crowned as Oxóssi, the king of the nature.
And did you write the song?
Yeah.
So you wrote the song off of a traditional story from Africa. Huh?
Yeah. A traditional story from Africa.
So every song you sing is going to require translation a little bit at least, so people know.
Thanks.
I think.
Yeah, so good for me talking about it.
How did you learn to speak English? Is it common where you come from?
As a kid, at the age of 9, I have lessons. I think 3 or 4 years lessons, and afterwards, as a singer-songwriter, learning songs in English to sing. That was how I learned.
Okay. Could you sing another for us, please?
Yeah, sure. África, oh África, oh África, é zumbi. Oh África, oh África, oh África, é zumbi. Celebrar nossas vitórias que ficaram na memória. Isso não está nos livros, aprendemos de ouvido. Chama Salif Keita aí. No Mali, Recife tem nação zumbi. Manguetal, Olodum no carnaval. Salvador, Fela Kuti anunciou. África, oh África, oh África, é zumbi. Oh África, oh África, oh África, é zumbi. Celebrar nossas vitórias que ficaram na memória. Isso não está nos livros, aprendemos de ouvido. Chama Salif Keita aí. No Mali, Recife tem nação zumbi. Manguetal, Olodum no carnaval. Salvador, Fela Kuti anunciou que o axé Jejinagô com a fé de Angola se cantou no Brasil, ressurgiu em paz, em paz, em paz. África, oh África, Oh África, é zumbi. Oh África, oh África, oh África, é zumbi. África mandou chamar, África tá em você. África onde tudo começou. África Nagô, África Nadô, África Zulu, África do Sul, África Nagô, África Nadô, África Zulu, África do Sul. Oh África, 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 África.
Well, Raphael, you like to pick those fancy chords to end your songs. That's another lovely chord. What was that one?
Thank you.
Thank you. So Africa, that song was about Africa, I can tell.
Yeah, it's about Africa, and it's about one of our black heroes in Brazil, which is Zumbi, which is a slave that came through the mountains and organizing a kind of community in the slavery time. And then he helped a lot of slaves to get their freedom. And yeah, in this song I'm saying that this guy, Africa is Zumbi, like this guy, Africa is this guy, you know, because he kind of keep the traditions of their people in Brazil. And long ago, in fact in 17th century.
And is he a hero among Brazilians, at least among some Brazilians?
Yeah, not. Yeah, he is kind of these days he is being recognized more as a hero. This last 10 years maybe.
So I think of Africa as I think of Brazil as being largely a Portuguese influenced country.
True, yeah.
But there is a strong black influence as well.
Yeah.
And was that largely because of slavery?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and for sure, in the culture of Brazil, much more influence from Africa than Portugal. In the culture, much more. I can say like 100% Brazilian culture influences from Africa.
Yeah, and I think the word is culture that you're saying.
Yeah.
And I know what you mean. That's musical influence and otherwise influence in other ways?
Yeah, music, dancing, the food, kind of food we eat there. Yeah, a lot of African, but also Portuguese influence too. A lot of in the language, our language and foods. In fact, is a kind of mixing culture in Brazil. Is very mixed. Even the people from Brazil came from a lot of places in Europe, and in a lot of different places in Africa, and yes. Kind of mixed people. So
your hometown is Salvador.
Salvador, yeah.
And it's in a region called Bahia?
Yeah, the state called Bahia.
And where is this?
And the city is Salvador. The zone is northeast Brazil. And Salvador, my city, was the first capital from Brazil since the beginning of the colonization, the colonialism, to like the 18th century. Salvador was the main city of Brazil, and
that's on the Atlantic Ocean, right?
Yeah, the Atlantic Ocean, yeah, sure.
So you grew up right by the sea.
Yeah.
Did you get to play on the sea?
Yeah, a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And play on the beach, and I think of music from Brazil with reference to the sea and to beaches. And the girl from Ipanema was one that comes to mind, and I don't think that's anywhere near Bahia. What is your town like?
Salvador is, how can I say? I think it's a little bit as Seattle, you know, because we are very big, and my city is in a peninsula, is in the end of a peninsula, so we have the Atlantic Ocean here and a big bay here. So the city is kind of, we have both the bay and the ocean. And is an important port in Brazil still. In the end of the sea, in the beginning of the time was like the port had a lot of movement from others other place from Europe. But today, in these days, the city is very big with very urbanic buildings, not old anymore. Some pieces of old culture, but most of them is new buildings and big buildings. And we have like 3.5 million people living in Salvador.
3 million?
3 million
in Salvador.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you how many people. That's a lot more than I expected.
Yeah.
Do you live right in the city yourself?
Yeah.
And you grew up there as well.
Yeah.
So your parents live there, and
my parents live there, and my family, all my family live there.
What has your family traditionally done for its income? What sort of work do they do?
My family. My father was a public funcionário, and works for a kind of federal bank in Brazil. And my mother was a teacher, learning kids in the school.
A music teacher?
No. It was kind of, Portuguese teacher.
Okay. And did either of them play music or sing songs, write songs? No,
my parents, no. I had, in fact, a brother of my grandma, has music from the 30s, and was very famous music. He wrote famous music from Brazil in the period we call Era do Rádio, which is the 30s to the 40s, when the radio becomes popular in Brazil. And this guy was a composer of that time. And
the sound was like big band music? With a Brazilian touch?
Yes, no. In that time we had, in fact, the samba was coming, and some influence from big bands too, but most of them was samba and kind of marchinha, which is a kind of carnival music from Brazil.
So it sounds like Brazilians can't get away from rhythm, a complex rhythm, actually.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Humberto Porto.
Okay. Well, I don't think I could write that out if I had to, but I'd like to get it on paper somewhere at some point. Could you sing us another, please? Raphael Pondé.
Another song? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
For once in my life, I have someone who needs me, someone I've needed so long. For once unafraid, I can go where life leads me. Somehow I know I'll be strong. For once I can touch what my heart used to dream of, long before I knew. Someone warm like you would make my dreams come true. For once in my life, I won't let sorrow hurt me, not like it hurts me before. For once I have someone I know won't desert me. I'm not alone anymore. For once I can say, this is mine, you can take it. As long as I know I have love, I can make it. For once in my life, I have someone who needs me. For once in my life, I have someone who needs me. For once in my life, I have someone who needs me. Oh, for once in my life.
Oh, that was not in Portuguese, and that was not a song that you wrote.
No.
Do you do often covers like that?
Yeah, a little bit of covers. I love American music, I got to say that. The old school music from here, like soul music, funk music, I like very much.
How old were you when you first picked up the guitar?
Like 15, yeah.
15, huh?
Yeah.
So later on, what prompted you to do that?
To write some songs, I think.
I said, what I mean is, why the guitar? Why music?
Why the guitar?
Yeah, why did you pick it up in the first place?
I don't know, but once I got the guitar and started playing, I was involved with the sound, and was very focused. When I was a teenager, I used to play the guitar for hours. I think 4 or 5 hours playing, because the sound just keep me focused, keep so focused.
And did your parents talk to you about that and say, Raphael, you should be doing your homework right now? Here you are, just playing the guitar again?
My mother didn't like very much for me to playing, and my father, yes, my father always he gave me my first guitar and always keep on going, Raphael, but my mother, even those days, I don't think she liked very much.
The guitar you're playing now is not apparently your first guitar, but it looks like you've been playing it a long while.
Yeah. It's kind of, maybe 10. I have it 8 years.
A little scratched up. Sometimes you play a little hard. And you come to P.Townsend with your nylon string acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
But you play other kinds of music, or have played other kinds of music that require electricity.
Sure. I like.
What else do you play?
Huh?
What else do you play? What other styles of guitar and music do you play?
I like to play with the electric. Also, I have a Fender guitar, and Brazilian music is so mixed, so fusion, that these days I can, when people say Brazilian music, you can understand a lot of things, because we have the roots music from Brazil, which is samba, baião from the northeast. But since the 60s, we got a lot of influence of rock and roll and pop music. So these days in Brazil, we had a large kind of different styles in music, and I like to work with all of them.
So in terms of the music that you perform, is it largely the kinds of music you're playing today, the acoustic music, or is it more the electric bands?
I have the two kinds of concerts. One, I go just with my guitar and another musician. The last times was a accordion player, just me with the acoustic and an accordion player. I have this kind of show, this concert, and I have another kind that is a whole band with drums, bass, electric, percussion. So I have this kind of two different ways, maybe even more, 3 or 4. Depends on the...
Do the different bands or different presentations, are they suited for different places where you play?
Yeah, different places, yeah. And the need of the promoter to tell me, prepare some acoustic or bring some electric, big band. I have all of...
Mm-hmm. So you won't be surprised to know that I had never heard of you until I got an email a couple of days ago, because I don't know Brazilian music at all. But if I were somebody, say, with a radio program in Brazil, or somebody who just liked to listen to music in Brazil, would I know your name? Are you well known? Yeah, Jesse here, who, by the way, is responsible. Jesse, what's your last name again? Jesse Watson, of course. Jesse Watson is responsible not just for Raphael being driven to the station here this afternoon, but also he was the writer of the first email.
Yeah,
and it did not directly come to me. It bounced around the station a little bit before it came to me. But nevertheless, thank you to Jesse Watson for making this happen. And he says that, yes, you are well known in Brazil. So that's good. That's very good. I'm talking to Raphael Ponde from Salvador, Bahia, Brazil. Thanks to Jesse for bringing him. On Tossed Salad, I'm Phil Andrus. This is KPTZ in P.Townsend, 91.9. We have business to attend to. Have you been on the radio before in Brazil?
In Brazil, yes, but here is the first time.
And tell me what's radio like? The radio stations you've been on in Brazil, what kinds of shows? And television too, I suppose. Then, huh?
Yeah. Different kinds. We have more cultural shows, which is more cultural aspects, and we have a lot of commercial shows too, more of entertainment things, and I prefer the cultural radios.
Do you ever do any commercials yourself? Have recordings of you advertising anything? I mean, often musicians do that as a way of making extra income.
Yeah, sure. No, I've never had it, but no problem if somebody invite me. It's a good thing,
Yeah.
It's a good. Yeah.
Okay. Well, could I ask you to sing another, please?
Okay. I will honor one of my heroes, Jimi Hendrix. After all the jacks are in their boxes, and the clowns have all going to bed, you can hear happiness staggering on down street. Footprints dressed in red, and the wind cries Mary. A broom is drearily sweeping all the broken pieces of yesterday's life. Somewhere a queen is sweeping, and somewhere a king has no wife. And the wind, it cries Mary. Traffic lights, they turn blue tomorrow and shine their emptiness down on my bed. Tiny island sags on down street, 'cause the life that lives is dead. And the wind, it cries Mary. It cries Mary. Will the wind ever remember the names it has blown in the past? And when it scratch its old age and its wisdom, whispers, no, this will be the last.
Raphael, that was Jimmy.
Yes.
Do you play a lot of his music?
In fact, no. In live shows, not too much, but I like very much his music.
Would you likely do that song in Brazil, or do you save your songs in English for North America?
No, I do a bunch of them in Brazil also, in this kind of acoustic concert. This one I played to you is I played in Brazil also.
Okay. Well, what I'd like to ask you to do is play, say, 2 or 3 songs without my asking you any questions, just as if you were doing a concert. Okay, and without interruptions, people can get a fuller sense of your music.
Okay,
thanks. I'll just be quiet for a bit.
Por ser de lá, do sertão, lá do cerrado, lá do interior do mato, da caatinga do roçado. Eu quase não saio, eu quase não tenho amigo. Eu quase que não consigo ficar na cidade sem viver contrariado. Por ser de lá, na certa por isso mesmo. Não gosto de cama mole, não sei comer sem torresmo. Eu quase não falo, eu quase não sei de nada. Sou como res desgarrada nessa multidão boiada caminhando a esmo.
I said I wasn't going to interrupt, but do remember we need to know what that song was about.
Sure,
and I also want to say that Jesse is over there playing the stool. Are you a drummer, Jesse?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Well, you were being a drummer right then. Anyway, I said I was not going to interrupt, but I did just to ask you what the song is about.
And this is a song called Lamento Sertanejo, which is a ballad, a kind of ballad from Northeast Brazil. Very traditional and roots music from the Northeast, from Dominguinhos and Gilberto Gil, this one, and talks about the suffering of the Northeast people, because we have in the Northeast a lot of dry weather, you know, and no rain sometimes, and no food, and all the cows are dying. And this song talk about the suffering of the Northeast people. With Lamento Sertanejo is the cry of the sertanejos, which is the people from Northeast. It's called sertanejos.
It sounds, it does not sound like a lament. It has such a soft beauty to the music. So to my ear, it would be more likely a love song, not a song like that about a sad subject.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying. And I'm looking forward to the next song. And I keep interrupting, don't I?
I gotta say, I'm working here in P.Townsend with Dirty Beady Duo. We are kind of in the studio preparing some new material, and I will play one of the songs we are working now in the studio. anything can happen. Where do we go from here? 'Cause you know anything can happen. Where do we go from here? Quem dera pudesse te tocar nos versos dessa canção, fazer um sorriso acontecer na hora do sol se pôr e na euforia da paixão que veio nos envolver, romper o silêncio da emoção na hora de entardecer. Ter você pertinho assim é bom demais. Seu calor me faz tão bem, toda a luz que há. Where do we go? Anything can happen. 'Cause you know anything can happen. Where do we go from here? 'Cause you know anything can happen. Where do we go from here? 'Cause you know anything can happen. Where do we go from here? Me diga onde isso vai parar. 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 You know anything can happen. Where do we go from here? 'Cause you know anything can happen. Where do we go from here? From here.
I will be silent for a moment. I promise.
Do you want me to play another one? O samba, patrimônio do Brasil, com as suas glórias mil, tanta coisa ele fez. O samba, com seus bambas e poetas, já traçou a linha mestra pro povo celebrar e o Brasil se transformar. O rico e o pobre no samba se entendem e o povo bonito vencerá pra sempre. O rico e o pobre no samba se entendem e o povo bonito vencerá. Ah, 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 ah. O sertão com a sua aridez, tanta coisa ele fez na pessoa de Luiz Gonzaga, ó grande rei do Baião. Ouça agora a gratidão por tudo que você fez pro sertão ter sua vez. O rico e o pobre no baião se entendem, e o povo bonito vencerá pra sempre. O rico e o pobre no baião se entendem, e o povo bonito vencerá.
Raphael Pandey, do you perform instrumentals also?
No, not too much.
Not so much. I mean, your guitar playing certainly can stand on its own. That's what I asked. We enjoy the accompaniment as well as the song. You said you're working in a studio, working on a production here in Port Townsend?
Yeah.
Which studio?
Pete's studio, which is a friend of our.
Pete Lack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He has a project with Jesse. It's called Dirty Beat Duo. It's a kind
Dirty
of
Beat Duo.
Say again?
duo.
Dirty Beat Duo.
Okay, so you, in fact, it's the two of you, Jesse and
Pete.
And Pete.
Yeah.
I'm playing with Rafa. I'm backing him up on percussion for his shows here, but Pete and I are working together on the project Dirty Beat Duo.
Okay.
Electronic dance music
All right.
project.
Well, I'm watching you. Not only are you using the stool that I brought in for somebody to sit on as kind of a drum, but you also were, I think, using the spring off of one of the mic supports.
Yeah, I thought it sounded like it was going to feed back a little bit or cause a little bit too much resonance.
Yeah, I actually didn't hear it, but
Okay.
I can see that you're a compulsive rhythm maker. Another name for a band, perhaps, if you'd ever want to use that, you're welcome to do so.
That's a good one.
Okay, so you're not actually doing the production. It's these two guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we brought him in and had him do. We're working on 2 tracks with him right now. One that he played a bit of, and then the other where we actually are featuring his classical playing, which is crazy good. It's
Classical
really-
guitar playing?
Yeah, it's just really beautiful over a dance rhythm.
Well, hang on a minute then. So you could play a classical piece?
Yeah, a little bit.
You could do that right now? Could you please? Was that one of your compositions?
Yeah, kind of. I'm working in.
I was hoping so because I didn't recognize it, though I'm not an expert in classical Brazilian music. I did not, and thought probably it was one of yours.
Yeah, sure.
So tomorrow at the Poorhouse,
Poorhouse, yes.
are you going to be by yourself, or will you have company?
Me and Jesse, I will sing some songs alone, and then with Jesse, a couple of them too.
You did not bring a band from Brazil?
No, not yet.
Maybe someday, huh?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Are you self-taught on the guitar? Did you teach yourself to play?
Yeah.
No lessons?
A little bit of lessons, but most of my learning was alone.
5 and 6 hours when you should have been studying in high school, you were playing the guitar.
Yes.
That's how you learned, huh?
That's why my mom doesn't like it.
And as you said, your mother's a teacher, so she would be concerned. Did you go to college?
Yeah.
What did you study in college?
I studied business administration in the Federal University of Bahia, and I finished it. I have the degree.
But you don't work at that?
No.
You're a musician and a singer.
Just give to my mother the degree,
What I'd like to do is ask you to sing one more,
Okay.
and then we'll play one off of your CD as you're leaving. And we'll keep the CD in our library here at the station so that
thanks.
people can hear it besides when you're here.
Thanks. Okay.
And I really appreciate especially the music in Portuguese.
Thank you.
That's something we don't get to hear that often, although, as I told you, largely because of Al Bergstein, who's on this show sometimes, and because of Centrum, there is choro music.
Choro instrumental, yeah.
Which is Portuguese, of course, Brazilian. Yeah. But a singer-songwriter from Brazil, not often do we see in P.Townsend. This is quite a treat for us. One more song, and we'll play something from your CD. And remember that you're going to have a concert tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
And tomorrow at 4 in the afternoon in Pool House. Hoje vou sair na cidade carnaval, o rio se enfeitou, o Cristo abençoou. As ruas estão em festa, o povo quer sambar. Eu a caminho da avenida pra ver minha escola passar. Isso tá virando paixão, mexendo com a minha emoção, o coração pulsando mais ainda. Aqui qualquer João vira um rei. Hoje então chegou a minha vez de ver ela passar, toda linda. Que inveja da Sapucaí, que vê ela passar todo dia, toda hora. Que inveja da Sapucaí, que vê ela passar todo dia, toda hora. Badabada papá, badabada badabada papá, badabada papá, badabada papá, babada papá, badabada badabada papá, badabada papá, badabada papá. Hoje vou sair na cidade carnaval, o rio se enfeitou, o Cristo abençoou. As ruas estão em festa, o povo quer sambar. E eu a caminho da avenida pra ver minha escola passar. Isso tá virando paixão, mexendo com a minha emoção, o coração pulsando mais ainda. Aqui qualquer João vira um rei. Hoje então chegou a minha vez de ver ela passar, toda linda. Que inveja da Sapucaí, de ver ela passar todo dia, toda hora. Que inveja da Sapucaí, de ver ela passar todo dia, toda hora. que coisa mais linda, mais cheia de graça. Ela, menina que vem e que passa, num doce balanço a caminho do mar. Moça do corpo dourado do sol de Ipanema, o seu balançado é mais que um poema, é a coisa mais linda que eu já vi passar. Ah, porque tô tão sozinho. Ah, porque tudo é tão triste. Ah, beleza que existe. A beleza que não é só minha, que também passa sozinha. Ah, se ela soubesse que quando ela passa, o mundo inteirinho se enche de graça e fica mais lindo por causa do amor. Ah, se ela soubesse que quando ela passa, o mundo inteirinho se enche de graça e fica mais lindo por causa do amor.
Before you said Into the Girl from Ipanema, I was remembering that bossa nova became popular in the United States when I was in college, or maybe high school. But at least in college it was popular. And because I liked the music so much, I actually took a college class in Portuguese.
Nice.
No, it was not nice. It was really, really hard. It was very much not nice. I did not do well. I did not take more than 1/4 of it. But nevertheless, the sound of the music is so pleasing to the ear, even if one doesn't know what the words are about.
Yeah. I agree with you.
I thank you very much for coming. This has been a delight for me. And we'll remind people that you are at the Poorhouse tomorrow at 4 o'clock. And you said you were here 13 years ago.
Yeah, 13
Well,
years
if
ago.
you wait another 13 years before you come back, I will be 80 years old. So I think you need to come back sooner, if that would be okay with
Thank
you.
you very much. I appreciate that.
Thanks for coming in, Rafael Ponde from Salvador, Bahia, Brazil.
Thank you.
Thanks to Jesse Watson from P.Townsend, Washington.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you both.
Thank
It's been
you.
a good time. And maybe see you tomorrow night. I have a wedding to go to. I've been wanting to skip the wedding, and now I have yet another reason to want to skip the wedding. But if I don't make it, I hope you have a wonderful time. It's a great place to play.
Thank you.
At
Thank
the
you.
Poorhouse. Okay, thanks a lot, guys. Okay, Tossed Salad continues. A bit of a change of pace. Dr. Luke Robbins, the president of Peninsula College. You're welcome to leave the room, please, so Dr. Robbins can get in here. Informal is the way that we do things here on Tossed Salad. Anyway, I'm Phil Andrus. As I said, this is Tossed Salad. Dr. Robbins will be in here shortly. We have a CD from not Jesse, but a CD from Raphael. I'm going to put on one selection from that CD while I introduce myself to Dr. Robbins, and we have a little bit of a conversation about what we're going to converse about. And since this is in Portuguese, I'm not going to bother to introduce it. This is Raphael, and you just heard.
Pai me chamou pra cá, mãe me indicou pra lá, só faltava decidir. Eu falava você não quis entender, não era mentira. Eu falava você não quis entender, que não era mentira não. Pai me chamou pra cá, mãe me indicou pra lá, só faltava decidir. Pai me chamou pra cá, mãe me indicou pra lá, só faltava decidir. Ô preta, não maltrate o seu nego. Ô preta, cuide bem do seu nego. Ô preta, não maltrate o seu nego. Preta não, preta, cuide bem do seu nego. Parará. falava você não quis entender que não era mentira. Eu falava a você não quis entender que não era mentira. Pai me chamou pra cá, mãe me indicou pra lá, só faltava decidir. Pai me chamou pra cá, mãe me indicou pra lá, só faltava decidir.